Hey guys, today we're going to be tying up a classic Irish wet fly called the Red Arrow. Now I got the idea to tie this pattern from a guy called Mainly Flies, and anybody who's ever tied a fly has heard about Mainly Flies. Really cool guy, super helpful, and he actually answers questions on his podcast, which I think is pretty neat. We're going to start out with a golden pheasant neck feather. We'll tie that in about right there. I'm going to tie it down the length of the hook to add up some bulk to the body, because that's the way I like it. Today I'm tying with 70 denier UTC Ultra thread. It's my favorite thread. It's a little fragile, you got to be careful with it, but if you like to tie delicate flies or you just like to look neat, that's how I do it. That might be a little much tail actually, but it'll be all right. We're going to start out with we're going to grab a piece of silver tinsel, tie that in, wrap that up the body. Let me cover up some of this feathers a little better. This is a really simple fly. It's a classic from what I've heard over in Ireland. Not here. I've never fished with it. I've never tied one. This is my first time. But hey, everything's worth a shot. We're going to grab some red dubbing. Most people use red hare's ear. I don't have any red hare's ear. I've got red ice dub, so that's what I'm going to use. It's a little coarse, but the coarse dubbing does make for a buggier fly, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm starting to learn as I go on, because I didn't really have anybody to teach me how to tie flies other than just what I could learn on the internet. That less is more when it comes to dubbing. Taper out our body. Maybe we'll just a little bit more. Another thing I've learned is that when it comes to stuff like this, you can really make these patterns your own, and it doesn't matter if they're super pretty or not. Fish are going to eat them. If you put it down in front of the fish, you present it to them correctly, they're going to eat it. And we're going to follow that up with some black dubbing. This is a blend of some black UV dubbing and some black hare's ear I had. I figured I would just take that flashy ice dub look and run with it. Won't hurt anything. Most people also tie this with black thread, but I want to dye it with red. I don't think it makes that big of a difference. Now you're going to counter wrap your silver tinsel up the body in open spirals. Stretch mine out so it's not near as shiny. Let's do a couple of wraps. There we go. Go ahead and tie that off right at the head of that dubbing. Look at this stuff is stretchy. I can't snap it off with my fingers. And then I'm going to use a black neck hackle, because I think it's about the right size for what I'm doing. Wrap that up to the head, and now we're gonna make a pretty prominent neck on this fly. Get my hackle pliers here. The feather's just a little too small. I know you guys don't like seeing my fat fingers in the camera. Now we're gonna wrap a pretty prominent neck on this fly. Just make sure not to crowd the eye of the hook. Tie that off just like that. Snap that excess off. Oh, it didn't break off. Damn. I'm going to slick these back, do a couple of wraps on top of the feather itself to give it that brush back look, because I think it looks better. At this point in the fly, everything you do is really for you. It's not for the fish. You've got the basics down. They're going to eat it. Plain and simple. I'm going to build up a little bit of a red head. Sort of a hot spot, I guess. Give that a couple 4 or 5 turn whip finish. And then I'm going to hit it with some Solarez Bone Dry, which is quickly becoming my favorite resin I've ever used. I used to use this, the Loon Clear Fly Finish, and it works, but it doesn't harden the way I want it to. It stays tacky for a long time, and the Solarez just doesn't. Let me clip those extra fibers off. Cure that up with your bench light. And there you have it. That is a classic Irish wet fly, the Red Arrow. Thanks for watching.